Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner, and today we're going to be talking about Binance's latest announcement with their NFT launch. So it looks like Binance is launching a marketplace for NFTs, and we thought this was a relatively big news since they have such a huge platform. And one of the things that we noticed is that this looks a lot like Nifty Gateway in terms of like its style. But this has huge implications for the kind of NFT space because they could kick off the next NFT craze just because of how big they are.
You think so?
It could. If you look at these NFTs, I don't see them any different than all the other art that's out there. But this is huge in the sense that now it's like Binance is like dipping their toes and creating a bigger market essentially.
Yeah, I mean. They definitely followed a successful model, the Nifty Gateway one. So, I mean, if you're familiar in the NFT space, Nifty Gateway kind of, I don't know, they really accelerated the NFT art mania, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, and the way they did that was with this, what they call drops. So if you go and niftygateway.com, you see these drops. Essentially, they put a countdown timer. They schedule all these artists to release their NFTs on the platform. And if you look at some of the like recent history, every single one seems to sell out, like all these. So this artist made about $10,000 here on average. So yeah, this is just an example of what Nifty Gateway did. And they were purchased by what's that platform called? The Winklevoss twins?
Gemini?
Yeah. So this was purchased by Gemini as a project. So yeah. But going back to Binance, they have a couple of sections here, and one of the mystery boxes. Oh, actually, here's the mystery boxes, dude. We were looking for this.
Okay, cool. So essentially, these are packs, right? So this is like a method. I'm not sure if within them are contained like these specific little characters here. I think they are, or whether or not it's kind of. It just aggregates different like art across the whole platform and just has like an RNG mechanic, But I think it's specific to what is it they call Tokidokis or something like that. They're pretty cute, but yeah. So I don't necessarily know why there's a mystery box category. I guess they're trying to like standardize this kind of like NFT approach.
Yeah,
right?
Because at the very top of their page, they have mystery boxes and everything looked like it ended. Yeah, you see here, Tokidoki. Interesting.
Yeah, so more than likely they're going to onboard more IP to do like this similar, pack distribution essentially. That's what it is. They're just packs. If you imagine unboxing a pack of Pokemon cards,
right?
You're gonna get a variety, or really you're hoping to get one like ultra rare within that pack, and it's different every time. So
yeah, and some of these people are selling their packs, right? Unopened boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are opened.
Yeah, so the NFT sector, I mean, I think it's going through a little bit of cool down, but like there's some standout projects like Nifty Gateway that are still managing to sell out almost every single drop, like the artists are. So there is definitely still appreciation. And like, there's huge expansion going on. Like Jay-Z apparently is working with Jack Dorsey to build like a music NFT platform and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So NFTs are not going anywhere just because they might be slowing down. So is everything else. Like the market as a whole is slowing down. So
yeah, it suffered its own little bubble, and I think bubbles just are clear indicators that the market is maturing. We saw that with cryptocurrency. We're seeing that with NFTs, and we're going to see that with other sectors like DeFi as well. We saw that with DeFi in last summer. And yeah, so it's part of the kind of the process of like maturing. So NFTs are not done; they're just like charging up essentially. But the way that these projects are leveraging the NFTs, I think that's what's going to make the difference between one platform and another. Like for example, in Nifty Gateway, they have these drops, and Binance is probably pushing heavily these packs. And packs are a good idea. If you go look at Top Shots, I mean, that's how they were able to make like $200 million in a single month just selling packs.
Exactly.
But they had such a powerful IP associated to it. So there's that.
Yeah, so I think they're proving the model with, this is probably like their own like internal in-house brand that they created. I mean, it's got Binance NFT written all over the packaging.
Yeah, that's true.
Know? So more than likely, yeah, they're trying to prove this model to be like, again, platformatize it. Like that's always key. When something successful emerges in these markets, it's always a good idea to platformatize it so that it gives brands or creators, different IP buckets, whatever you want to call it, like more opportunity, I guess, or like a more, I don't know, like an easier channel to market the product. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so in other news in Binance, it looks like the UK has banned, to a certain degree, Binance in the UK. And so the links will be in the description, but if you read this article, this is a heavy like news line. It looks like Binance is completely getting banned, but reading
that's yeah, exactly. Freaking headlines, dude.
Yeah.
And like we know some people from the UK who reacted probably purely off of that headline as well.
Yeah.
Because like, the message they're relaying to us, like, oh my God, the sky is falling. Like Binance is screwed. The government's coming down with the biggest ban hammer of all time.
Right.
But once you actually get into reading into the nitty gritty details of what's actually being.
Yeah, and specifically it says Binance is not permitted to undertake any regulated activities. So regulated means specifically, in their words, derivatives of cryptocurrency. So that includes option trading, and what else?
Probably margin accounts too. I don't know, maybe not, but I mean these are large pools of like Binance activity, I'm sure, but it's not as heavy as what the United States experienced as far as like completely removing us from that ecosystem. Giving us like a 6-month like time countdown or something like that to withdraw all your assets, get out of there, never come back. Like that was a little more extreme and more aligned with what
I remember those days, man. We were given like, what was it, 3 to 6 months to extract all our funds from Binance.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and
it was a countdown clock, dude.
It was extremely sad because we used to use Binance all the time, and like it was so easy to use.
Binance to merge is like that was the platform, dude. Like before decentralized exchanges were even an option. There were a couple out there, but they were so like not user friendly.
Yeah, super slow.
And they had like the worst liquidity you could think of, so it was like wasn't viable. But so Binance pretty much controlled the whole sector back then in 2017.
Yeah,
and they're still a huge player, But so large, the UK, I'm sure this spooked them a little bit, but this is just more, I don't know, like more indication that regulation is coming, globally, not just from the UK,
Yeah, what's your stance on regulation? I think I think I know your answer, but I don't think it's the worst case scenario for cryptocurrency to have it be regulated. The only problem that I see is fair regulation across the board. Like if you're going to regulate Ethereum, if you were to, then all countries have to abide by those regulations, right? It has to be the same. You can't have like one country have an advantage over another, right?
Yeah, I don't think that works. Geopolitics works that way though. There's never like
does it.
Plus it's like not even like in extreme problems like global warming does that shit work.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Where nations collaborate to like
to agree, to agree on a certain like rule set.
Yeah. It's not easy to do. So but regulations, I guess it's the best thing you'd want to see, right? Like this is an indication that governments they're starting to understand what it is, what's happening in this industry, and as opposed to completely maybe it signifies they have a lack of. I don't know. It's hard to place that judgment call. Like if it's just a government can't figure out what's going on in this space. Of course they know. Right? Of course they're aware. Blockchain technology is innately like resistant to the traditional world, I guess. Like it's in contrast to it. Or it can be, so you would think a lot of government, organizations would feel threatened by that. So yeah, by you asking, is it good if you see more regulation? Yeah, if it's regulation, that's a good sign, I guess, that they're trying to coexist. You know what I mean? As opposed to complete outright banning everything, which is what I think eventually they'll end up leading. The road will lead to. You know? Once they realize like the true threat of DeFi, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder. So the question is, can it be regulated? That's one thing. Like if you have a
Well,
completely decentralized platform,
see, but
then
that's the thing. Binance is not decentralized, right?
definitely not.
You could easily crack down on things like Binance and Coinbase,
That's
but
right.
something like, you know,
Uniswap.
yeah, like a true decentralized service that does the same things Binance and Coinbase do, right? But there's no CZ, there's no Armstrong, I think is his name from
Yeah,
Coinbase.
Brian
Like, I
Armstrong.
mean,
Yeah.
there are founders, but like if these founders actually deliver on their promises of like, just giving ownership to its users, then yeah,
Mm-hmm.
good luck regulating that.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of technologies that exist that can't be regulated, like BitTorrent and other Tor networks as well. They exist, and you can't really shut them down. And they the government can't really do anything about it. The only thing they
Yeah.
can do is like try to crack down on like file sharing, and if you get caught like sharing like all tons of files, and yeah, you could go to jail. But other than that, like very seldom does that happen, unless you're like
Yeah.
your infraction is so large that there's like a huge incentive to go and find you.
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases
So
for
having said
crypto,
all this,
in
huh?
crypto, in some cases, like these huge whales, like we need to talk about John McAfee, but I think he had some pretty big crypto bags, and I don't know. We need to look into what happened to John McAfee, though.
Yeah, it's more like a podcast discussion, probably.
Yeah.
So whenever we get around to recording one of those, but I guess like so, so the main takeaway from this conversation, we kind of presented a pretty bullish case for Binance and a kind of bearish slash bullish. I don't know. It's kind of hard to gauge a sentiment as far as like what does Binance future look like from here?
You know what? In the case of from the perspective of NFTs, it's bullish that Binance is getting in, right? It brings in a huge market, like exposes a bunch of traders into this NFT kind of ecosystem. So it's bullish in that sense. But I think countries are starting to pay a little bit more attention, and they're starting to crack down to a degree where we people traders need to start being careful like what they do and what they're reporting, right? You can't just like trade in the Wild West like you were back in 2013 where people were just like hiding their crypto from the government, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's that. Countries are becoming aware, in other words.
Yeah, and yeah, let's keep in mind also like Binance, they're properly hedged, I guess, in a sense. Like they're not just a centralized exchange anymore, like associated with that Binance name. Like they have their own chain now. They have an ecosystem of somewhat decentralized projects. I'm sure, I don't know if maybe fully decentralized, but there's an ecosystem there. And yeah, I mean, how you regulate that, I guess we'll see. Because largely a lot of these projects are doing these regulated activities that UK is cracking down on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah,
we'll
and
see,
imagine
man. It's gonna be an interesting battle ahead.
if the UK can crack down on Binance, imagine the project that's completely decentralized that is doing a decentralized version of derivatives, right? Options trading.
Yeah, like as we've covered before, dude. Like that's probably going to be one of the biggest sectors to look forward to. Like whenever
Yes.
the market recovers, like for DeFi in particular.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay. Yeah, so we talked about Binance. We talked about the UK banning Binance, or at least to a certain degree, and NFTs coming back. So let us know what you think about Binance getting into NFTs. Like and subscribe. Follow us on our social channels. All the links will be in the description below. And we will catch you in the next video.
Peace out.